faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky!
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Assuming all goes to plan, this comes out on YouTube. A quick hello to the people who are watching this on YouTube. Thank you for checking it out. I am going to set up the share screen now. And it's a show and tell. So April 18th, as I said earlier, was Superman Day, which saw some cool goodies at your local comic shop being given away or to buy, a special event at Warner Brothers Studio, and a whole bunch of movie merch reveals and teasers. Like I say, if all goes to plan, this will be available to watch on YouTube. I will put two things of the podcast out, one with this section in it for those who just want to listen, and one without for those who've already watched it on YouTube. We're going to be talking about the merch, and I've got pictures to go with it. So we'll kick things off with the comics. So obviously, there's a whole summer of movie tie-in ones. I've got the Action Comics #1 cover, which is obviously already came out for Superman Day, which is a lovely piece of work. Dan Mora cover. Dan Mora's name will come up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the previously revealed Superman and James Gunn cover, again, Dan Mora. Very nice. And then, I hate to say this, the Action Comics 1087 cover by Dan Jurgens, I think might be my least favorite. And I hate to say it because I love Dan Jurgens, but that Superman looks stiff as anything.
I think I'm with you there, actually, Stuart. It just doesn't really look like Dan Jurgens' Superman, if that makes sense.
Yeah. A little bit around the face. But, and the cape. The cape is definitely Jurgens' capage. But it kind of looks like the Tyler Hoechlin suit from the first couple seasons, actually. Like his shoulders are a little bulky compared to the rest of it, but composition wise it's great. I mean, it's Superman standing there with the Fortress robots, so
everything's great apart from the Superman. It looks like somebody's posed an action figure. There doesn't feel like there's any life in it. It feels like a cardboard cutout. And like I say, I hate to say it because I love Dan Jurgens. Dan Jurgens' variant foil cover for Superman 82 is the thing that I saw in a newspaper and was like, I need to buy that comic.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that started me on this whole slippery slope of collecting Superman comics and my Superman fandom to the point where we're now discussing Superman on a podcast.
He's able to draw the crystalline Fortress of Solitude really well. Like we saw that in the Rebirth era, and like those are some of my favorite. Like when I was reading those at the time, I was like, I can't believe I'm reading like one of my favorite Superman writers and artists, but it's kind of mashed up with the kind of movie aesthetic of the fortress being made out of crystals. Like, this is incredible. I can't believe I'm seeing this. And Michael, you were saying earlier on, this was at a period when it was like a low period to be a Superman fan. It was so cool. Whereas I'm just not getting that vibe out of this,
No, but it's like the face. It doesn't look like David Corenswet, and it doesn't look like Dan Jurgens' Superman.
No.
It's weird. It's almost like they were like, you've got 20 minutes, fire this one out for us.
And that may have been the case, by the way.
Yeah. Like I say, I think if you change the pose of Superman, you make it look a bit more living, for want of a better term. He looks like somebody who's gone out dressed as Superman for the first time and feels really awkward about it. But yeah, so there's that. I mean, I'm still going to buy it. Then we have the George Jimenez cover for Batman 161. I really like this one.
Yeah, I had not seen this one, and I think this one was brilliant.
Yeah, it's a nice takeoff of the All-Star Superman idea. With him sitting on a cloud, and the cape is really good. The costume pops, and and it's a pretty image. Jorge Jimenez, because I sometimes have problems with that myself, is like him and Dan Mora, I think, are the preeminent Superman artists of the current
Yeah,
generation, and we're lucky to have them.
yeah. And it's a smiling Superman, which is always nice to see.
I
And
like that he's leaned into the bagginess as well. Like he
yeah,
hasn't shied away from that, which I think some artists have. Like he's really leaned into it here. And I think what really stands out to me is the cloud. Like he's really made it look like a cloud. Like you can actually see the wafts of mist come up around Superman's heel. It is beautiful to look at this image. Love it.
and Superman looks relaxed, which, not to keep ragging on the Dan Jurgens one, that Superman does not look relaxed. Um, but yeah, and then we have the Justice League Unlimited #9 cover by Frank Quietly, which makes sense given the All-Star Superman influence on the film. Again, very nice cover.
Oh man,
Nice
we're
to see
back.
that Frank Quitely can draw a long cape.
Yeah.
Um, Not to harp on that.
I also just finished rereading All Star Superman, Michael, and when I saw this, I was just like, we are back. Like this is just we're straight back into that world, and it's always beautiful. And you know, in stark contrast to what we were saying about Dan Jurgens, that is absolutely the Frank Whiteley Superman
Yeah.
face that he's drawn here, and it looks
Hmm.
great. And yeah, I love this. And again, he's leaned into the bagginess, which makes a lot more sense because I think the bagginess of the new costume is absolutely a reference to Frank Whiteley's art, where
Yeah.
the costume is very baggy in that story. So no, I love this.
That's it. It makes perfect sense if you're getting an artist to do this. You're not going for a David Corenswet likeness. This is exactly what it should be. Like I said, there was no question of who this artist was. Then next up, we have the Krypto, the Last Dog of Krypton #1 cover, again by Dan Mora. Again, I really like this. I love that Krypto. He reminds me of my dog when she's like running through fields of daffodils and all that sort of stuff, just with the stupid big dog grin on her face. And I say stupid with nothing but love. Um, and again, I like the Superman. I like that you've got the creases in the inner elbow.
Yeah,
I think it's a nice cover.
Mora is just like he can. I can't even talk because I love his art so much. It's so interesting that in the past couple of years when he's been drawing Superman in World's Finest, and then he just had just did a storyline in Superman as well, and he's doing Justice League Unlimited. Like he crept up and now draws what I think of as like the definitive Superman of the mid 2020s,
Yeah,
which we don't always get that. We didn't. There really wasn't a definitive artist in the 2010s for Superman.
yeah, I
Mm,
agree with that.
That
that's
it's
fair.
like there were a bunch of people that contended for it, but I don't think anybody stepped forward and was like, "This was the guy." I think the closest we got there was Kenneth Rocafort, but he didn't stick around for a real, length of time to do that. Whereas Dan Mora has really just stayed in the game and it's just, you know, banger after banger after banger, to quote John Oliver. And yes, the Krypto, the dog is just that looks like the happiest damn dog on the
Yeah,
face of the planet.
That is a drawing of a dog by someone who has a dog,
yeah,
Yes,
which is
yeah,
the best compliment I can give.
that's it.
yes.
I can feel that dog bouncing around. Um, but yeah, then next we have the Supergirl #1 cover by Nicola Scott and Annette Kwok. Apologies if I've said that wrong. Um, again, nice. I like it.
This I don't know if you did if you realized this as well, Michael, but I have the absolute All-Star Superman
Hmm.
edition, and this is literally the cover of that, um, but with the new costume. And the backdrop is the same with the sun kind of shining behind him and all that. So that was the first thing I thought of, and yeah, I really like this one as well. I think it looks lovely.
Yeah. Again, I'm not massively familiar with the artist's other work. so I can't speak to it as a good representation of their Superman.
It is. Nicholas Scott drew some of the early New 52 stuff when George Perez was writing it, but she also did the variant for Action 1000 that was at one point only available in Australia. Uh, Thankfully, I have some friends there where she drew all of the Superman. And recently, DC has released like 6, 7 months ago, they did a whole month of releasing her variants for all of the anniversary books that she did, where it's all the different versions of Superman. So this is very on point for what she does, and the All-Star Superman vibes from this
Yeah,
are really hard to escape to escape
Mm.
from, especially that background.
I love the kind of expression on his face as well. It's just very hopeful and it's very kind of distinct and unique, and I really like it. I'd love to see more from them actually, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. No, it's lovely. Um, then going back to my era of Superman, we have the Superman number 27 cover by Jerry Ordway, which this gives me 90s vibes. I'm getting that triangle era Superman feel from this one.
Take it away, Michael.
Yeah, it's an Ordway piece. Like you can't escape it. The faces are pure Ordway. The body language. I also just absolutely love how detailed the background is
Yeah,
in that building and the sun coming through it. I absolutely loved this one. I'm a mark for Ordway in a huge way, uh, which is a really unfortunate sentence structure, and I apologize for that. But Lois looks great, Superman looks great, that cape swirling above him, the people in the background. It's just wow, what a fantastic piece of art.
Yeah, it's 3 for 3 on this one, lads. I love this one too. This might actually be my favorite one.
yeah,
And I think Jerry Ordway, he's this storied artist from post-crisis and all that. But like if anyone hasn't really noticed, like in the last 10 years or so, he has really carved out a niche as the guy who draws Michael Keaton Batman better than anyone else. And like you'll see,
Hmm.
he'll always post commissions of himself drawing Michael Keaton Batman and like Jack Nicholson Joker. And I think what it is he really always leans heavily into the aesthetic of that movie and the designs from that movie. He doesn't try to make it more like the comic book version. He goes, these are the designs from that movie, and I'm going to emulate that and give it, put my own spin on it. But it's very much that, and it's exactly what he's done here. He's gone, this is the design from this movie, and I'm gonna make this as beautiful as I possibly can. And I think more than any of the other drawings we've seen, which all of which I've really really liked. I think this is my favorite. I think
yeah,
it looks like David Carnswell. It looks like Rachel Brosnahan, and my God, does it look like the actual set of the Daily Planet from the movie? And it's fantastic. It's so good, and
yeah,
I want to frame this one.
yeah,
I can tell you one of the reasons why his Batman 89 looks so well. He got to visit the
Yeah.
sets
Mm.
and see the costume up close and all that. So I think that had a lot to do with his talent in general. But
Yeah.
there's something about that probably that tactile feeling that you got to sit in front of it instead of just looking at a still.
And I'm
And
sure
I,
I'm sure you know this, Michael, but that there's Jack Nicholson had a problem with the way he
mhm.
was being drawn or something, so that they had to redraw a bunch of the panels in that comic. And there is a hardback edition of the Batman '89 comic book adaptation that you can buy, and you can see the original black and white pencils, wherein there is like a couple of panels of Jack Napier in that comic where they've clearly like Tippexed out the original artwork, and he's had to redraw around it, to
mhm.
please Jack Nicholson. That is an incredible. You can get it easily enough. Like it only came out a couple of years ago. That is an incredible edition of that comic book adaptation. And if you're buying that comic book adaptation, you buy it for the artwork. You don't buy it for the story, which is just the movie a
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
watered down.
If you want to read it, read your old original
Craig Shaw
edition. But
Gardner.
for for the comparison, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, because Jack Nicholson had it in his contract, didn't he, that he got to sign off on his likeness, and I think that just upped the game on it as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, sort of moving away from Jerry Ordway, we have the Superman Batman World's Finest number 41 cover by Kevin Maguire. which looks like David Corenswet and looks like a looks like a Kevin Maguire cover.
Yeah. Nails Crypto.
There was a sketch version that had Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific on it as well, possibly Metamorpho, which really harkened back to that Justice League cover that he did. I'm assuming they didn't make the final cut. But I like this one. It's nice. I like Kevin Maguire anyway. Kevin Maguire is one of those artists that I've always had an up and down relationship with. I've grown to appreciate him as an adult.
The secret sauce of this cover is the perspective.
Yeah.
That is not easy to do, what he's doing with that image of looking down on Superman like that and him being in proportion as much as he is. The background is a space background. You've got the symbol as well, but the important thing is that Superman looks great and Crypto looks absolutely adorable. I love that little ear kind of tucked up, like he's listening for something.
I mean, we can't fault the likeness here. It's absolutely perfect. What I'd say though is like this feels like key art to me. It feels like something you'd see on like an action figure, or do you know what it feels? It feels like something you'd see on a coloring book cover. It doesn't really feel like a real comic book cover to me. It feels like kind of promotional key art, or like something from a style guide, that kind of way. So it doesn't really feel like art to me. But like it certainly looks fine and it looks beautiful and it looks like the movie, but it just doesn't pop to me like the other ones do.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's got that feel of the Superman Returns merch.
Yeah.
That had that picture of Brandon Routh in the top left corner. And then lastly, we have the Superman Unlimited #1 cover by Jim Lee, which when it was originally announced was the sketch. And then they recently announced the finished artwork. I've said before, I'm not a massive fan of Jim Lee's Superman. Mainly because he always seemed to draw him kind of mean and moody, which is never Superman. I actually really like this one. I like the smile on his face. I like the fact he's got the stick. Again, Crypto looks blissfully happy, like he's going for a walk.
I used to not like Jim Lee's Superman, especially the New 52 version, and now I think he's one of the few people that can really draw that costume well. And since this costume has a lot from it based on that one, except for the trunks, I think he was a good one to go for this. Like the guy hasn't missed a step in, his 30 plus years of drawing comics. He still kind of knocks it out of the park. I am not as keen on his like sequential storytelling, but the man knows how to draw a poster.
Yeah.
He just really does, and this is perfect for that. I love the coloring on it as well.
Yeah,
that's so funny, Michael, because I actually feel the exact opposite. I feel like when I'm actually reading comic books by Jim Lee, I'm like, oh yeah, he's quite good at like conveying kind of movement and speed and action and all that stuff. But the actual still image splash pages that he draws, I'm just like, I just don't. This is just doing nothing for me. Like the biggest problem for me with Jim Lee always is that he doesn't know how to draw fabric. Like it always just looks like their costumes have been painted onto their skin. And the second biggest problem is there's always like three expressions in a Jim Lee drawing. It's like happy, sad, and badass. And like there's never any kind of real variety or kind of real expression in the way he draws characters. So yeah, this to me feels interchangeable with New 52 Superman. I can't even really tell that it is the new movie costume, to be honest. So I respect why people like it. It's not my favorite of the ones we've seen, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. So yeah, so that's the comics. So there were some books announced. So first up was the Superman Welcome to Metropolis, an official novel inspired by the film. The little blurb that went with it was it's due to be released on the 3rd of June 2025, by Penguin Random House, and will follow Clark, fresh to Metropolis, trying to balance his job at the Pleiadian Planet, his life as Superman, all whilst trying to uncover a dangerous mystery that seems to be tied to Lex Luthor. It's a 144-page book aimed at junior readers and will feature 8 pages of full color insert and with character profiles, which reminds me of the little bit of those Schooltastic books you used to get. You'd have the adult tie-in novel for Ghostbusters 2, then a Schooltastic one for the kids that had pictures from the film.
Scholastic.
Scholastic, sorry. That's what I meant. My dog's completely thrown me off my game, like jumping on broken ribs. As far as I know, this is the second book that's been announced after Insight Editions announced they were releasing the official script book, which doesn't have a cover yet. Which the release date, according to Amazon, has changed to before the film comes out. I imagine it's going to change back to its original release date of October. I can't imagine we're going to see this before the film comes out.
But can you imagine the people jumping on podcasts and TikTok and YouTube videos, reading the script and ruining it?
It'll be like Qui-Gon's Noble End on the Phantom Menace soundtrack all over again.
If I could just talk about the prequel junior novel, though, for a second, I think that's really, really cool. As you both know, and anyone listening will know, I am a big fan of prose novels featuring these characters, and I wish they would make more of them. They did one for the Batman called Before the Batman. Now, I think that was young adult, where I think this is for even younger than that readers.
Yeah.
Before the Batman, I would definitely recommend checking out. It is not great, but it is interesting what they do with it. Like, and they really map out like the origin of that version of Batman, which is really, really cool. Which I suspect that this is going to do as well. It's going to like be kind of the de facto origin for this Superman. I just hope they do something for older readers in this universe as well. I would love to, like, even if it isn't necessarily a movie novelization, but just something set in the world of this movie.
Yeah,
I would love to. I hope that they don't only do stuff for very, very young readers. I'd love to read something set in this universe, I have to say. So I hope they do that. And I get why they don't do, just straight novelizations of the movie anymore, because it's just too risky with spoilers and stuff like that. But I hope they do something around it. And I kind of suspect that they won't, but I hope they do.
Yeah. Speaking of stuff for very young readers, though, we then got the Step Into Reading, which is Step 3, which I don't know if that's the American equivalent of Key Stage 3 or whatever it is in this country. Again, it's a Friends and Foes book. It's aimed at very young readers. Again, seems fine for what it is. I may have pre-ordered all of these books just to...
Oh, wow.
So I can tell you all about them.
I'm on the fence about doing that and getting these, because they're nice to have, but I've got so much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I may cancel those pre-orders, but at the moment I've just pre-ordered stuff and then, so, I could be that guy.
I do think this Superman needs to eat a sandwich, though.
Yeah.
Or something. Eat, Bubba, eat.
He's got the Cinderella midsection. And then the classic, the official activity book, featuring over 50 stickers and posters, and a poster rather.
Ooh, I of all the ones you've talked about, I feel like this is the one I'll probably buy.
It's this and that 90s Superman coloring book that they announced, which isn't related to the film, but I was just like, take my money.
Yeah, I somebody shared that with me, and I was just like, wow. I didn't know I wanted a coloring book that bad, but
I'm not going to color it in.
Can't not get it.
But
I will be buying every copy of the 90s Superman coloring book, let me tell you. Fellows and girls.
But yeah, so that was it, sort of books for the minute. Again, nothing earth-shattering, but still nice to see, and it's nice that they're trying to attract a new audience by targeting younger fans. Or younger fans to be.
This is the more disposable stuff, which is what we need for stuff like this. Is just to get kids engaged with it, and then like 20 years from now, when they're in their 20s and 30s, they can sit there and buy it on eBay again.
That's it. And I mean, to be fair, the other Superman books I've ordered, the prequel novel, I will probably keep. The Step Into Reading one, I will probably then donate to my niece when she's old enough, because she's only under one baby at the minute, but I'll probably pass that on to, or if she ever comes and stays at my house, we can read it together.
Aw.
So
Is there any sign of any coloring book, Stuart? 'Cause
not
I
at
haven't
present
heard.
that I've seen. Only that 90s one. Um, but yeah,
Coloring books are a big part of my fandom. I have to say, I'm holding up
oh, nice.
the DC Comics adult coloring book. I
It's
feel
not going
like
well with your background.
no, but I think that they are great, and even if they want to do a kids one, I'll buy it.
Yeah,
I'll happily color in characters from this film.
yeah, it's quite nice and soothing. Um, so that's it for books and comics, though. So we move on to the physical merch and the inevitable Funko Pops. So starting with a Funko Pop Superman keyring. Again, if you like Funkos, looks perfectly fine. I know for some people, Funko's a landfill. For other people, they're the ultimate collectible. I sit somewhere in the middle.
I I like the key ring. I could never imagine having that thing in my pocket all day.
No, no, I've got the Clark Kent one. It just sits on my shelf quite happily, and I got the Christmas Superman one, which I just hang on the tree every year. Um, Again, it's nice. Again, it really depends how you feel about Funko Pops. I'm mixed. If I can get a decent action figure of it, I don't need the Funko Pop. If it's something like the Cheers ones, they're never going to release Cheers action figures, so I'll buy the Funkos.
I don't have like every single Superman Funko, but I have a bunch of them. And what I tend to do is I will buy other Funkos like Wicked Witch of the West Funkos or Maleficent or anything that kind of reminds me of, the things that my wife likes, and I'll put them together. Like
Nice.
you'll have Superman and the Wicked Witch of the West, and you'll have another Superman. Like there's a Blackest Night Superman Funko Pop that I
Mm.
put next to a Morticia Funko Pop because I'm like, oh, this is Lois and Clark on their Goth Night, so they're going down to the chamber and having a good time. So
Nice.
That is a good point though. Is like if they don't make action figures of this, I will buy the Funko because when I think of the Funkos I own, like I own Laura Palmer from Twin Peaks, I own the Log Lady from Twin Peaks, I own Sean Connery, Roger Moore, and Daniel Craig, James Bond, different Funkos,
Yeah,
and
they
then
stopped doing them before they got to the Timothy Dalton and George Lazenby.
of course, and then I own what is it there? I own a Michael Keaton Batman Funko and a Val Kilmer
Yeah.
Batman Funko. Back when like the whole kind of Burton Schumacher Renaissance hadn't quite started yet, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a good analogy. It's a good way of looking at it. I will not be buying any Funkos from this film. No.
No.
And to the point about the keychain, I own I've definitely owned like Lego Superman and Batman keychains, and the problem is after a while, like if you have that in your pocket and you're taking your keys out all the time, what happens is that the little figurine just falls off, and you're
mhm.
left with this just like useless metal keychain then with nothing on it.
Oh, my
So
figure
yeah, no,
stayed on. It's just his face that is completely rubbed away from being in my pocket. So I've just got this
that
blank
too.
mannequin-esque Superman. Um, this this next one may tempt you. It's Crypto.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a very sweet looking Funko.
Is
It's
it?
both sweet and terrifying at the same
Yeah,
time.
that's what I
Yeah.
was gonna say.
It's like take out the soulless eyes,
The black eyes, the doll's eyes.
just paint some dots on it or something. I mean,
Sorry,
like,
I was just appreciating Rob's Jaws reference.
Yeah. We're going to need a bigger cave. Sorry, guys.
that was Jaws. Yeah, again, it's fine. I mean, all Funkos have those black soulless eyes.
It's
you know.
also the mouth a little bit, I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
this is the type of crypto that you have to be nice to or it'll suck the soul right out of your body and you're just left a desiccated husk of a human being afterwards that it jumps on.
Yeah. Which brings us next to Lex Luthor. Which, I mean, these bold Funkos are the easiest thing for them to produce.
I'm confused by the coffee.
It looks like they took a Michael Scott Office one,
I was
just
gonna say
repainted it.
they could have just reused a Michael Rosenbaum one here, and we wouldn't even know. Like, because it's Luthor Corp, and
I don't know. Is the Lex Luthor element of this film going to be a workplace comedy kind of thing?
I don't know, but now I want like the shots of him talking like with the door, like you got that much of the window and the thing. Just like I really hate Superman. I project this veneer of saying he's a hero, but I just desperately hate him.
Then we've got the Lois Lane. Again, the eyelashes on the black eyes somehow make it seem even creepier. It's like we're going full Hellraiser kind of thing.
They're doing something for someone, man. I'm going to tell you that.
Okie dokie.
I like the outfit though. I like the vest look for Lois. That's a good it's like I don't know if the costume designer really just liked Annie Hall, but that's kind of the Diane Keaton and Annie Hall is the vibe I'm getting here.
Didn't Amy Adams wear something similar in Man of Steel or BVS? Was she a waistcoat kind of vest top?
That was more of a formal waistcoat, whereas I think this is more of a kind of a smart casual.
Yeah,
like she's wearing a t-shirt under the waistcoat, whereas Amy Adams was wearing a blouse. So
yeah,
it's a different vibe.
That's because Man of Steel was just a more formal affair. So this is more like Friday at the Daily Planet, where Man of Steel is more like Monday morning, and you're trying to look your best.
Yeah,
Man of Steel is a Superman movie you bring your accountant to go and see.
I want that on the poster.
You're not wrong.
Right, I'm going to Photoshop the Man of Steel poster with that quote on.
Yeah, that's the pull quote Warner Brothers wants. Bring your accountant, Rob O'Connor. All-star superfan.
I mean, had I gone with my wife, I technically would have taken my accountant to see it. Unless your accountant is Ben Affleck from the film The Accountant.
The Accountant, yeah.
Or indeed its sequel, The Accountant 2. Then next we have a Superman. I quite like the pose on this, but I don't think I'd buy it personally. But then, as we will discover later, there are going to be action figures. These are the kind of things I'd potentially impulse buy if they were a $5 each in the Entertainer or Smith's Toys or whatever the local toy shop is by you.
In a discount bin at HMV.
Yeah, that's it.
I can speak British. I can.
And then we have the Jumbo Superman, which is the big ones that go for about 30 odd quid.
I quite like that. I have like the last two you've shown me. I have to say, Stuart, like but they both have this kind of dynamic sense of movement to them. That's quite nice. I would not be opposed to buying either of these. I'm
quite tempted by the Jumbo one, but again, I think if they go cheap,
exactly.
I'd like to get the Jumbo one to go with my other Jumbo one that I have that some friends got me, and have them like on either side of the shelf. I think that would look nice.
Yeah,
because it's not like I'm going to be playing with these things that you know of.
What you do with your Jumbos is your business.
Suddenly, Stuart cuts in the scene from Spaceballs where Dark Helmet is playing with the action figures.
But yeah, that's it for Funkos at the moment. No Metamorpho, no Mr. Terrific. I guess they'll see how this wave does before they commit to doing the lesser characters.
We didn't say it during the footage talk, by the way, but oh my god, Metamorpho looks absolutely perfect.
Yeah, looks great. Looks like everyone looks great. I even don't mind the Green Lantern outfit because that looks like he's part of a team. So
yeah, I agree.
I mean, when we talked about it initially, I always got a certain Kyle Rayner vibe from it as well. Not exactly Kyle Rayner, but it felt like a nice mix of different. A bit like the Superman costume, it feels like a nice mix of different elements of Green Lantern costumes.
Mm-hmm.
And it suits the Guy Gardner.
Yeah, it totally feels of a piece with like the Giffen Demetrius
Yeah.
run. Like I could absolutely see that costume in that run, and that's why every time people complain about it, I'm like, have you read that? And I hate gatekeepers, but like please read those comics because I think when you read them, this will make sense.
But,
I
yeah.
mean, you're not going to be like what's his name at the first episode of Spaced, yelling at the little boy in the comic shop about Jar Jar Binks. So I think there's a line that you can ride there.
So anyway, that's it for the Funkos. We now move on to that age-old tradition of the Halloween/fancy dress costumes.
Can I say these are the best looking Superman Halloween costumes that we've gotten in quite some time?
Except I'm going to have to side with Alan. I hate the puffy muscles.
But they're not as bad as the like, Joey Tribbiani one.
Yeah, it's not as bad as the Superman Returns one that was, you could spend hours fondling.
Or no, not Stay Tuned. That was in part one. So
that was
fine.
in part one. That's how I knew to say it.
My initial reaction watching this was, oh wow, did like, and I say this with love. I do not dislike the costume as much as some people. Did Rubies have a say in the design of the new Superman costume? Because this feels so perfectly in sync with the costume in the movie. Like it feels, and I've seen people say that this actually looks better than the costume in the movie, which I obviously disagree with.
Yeah,
but
this looks like a onesie because it is.
No, but like it does feel a lot more movie accurate than a lot of Ruby's costumes, doesn't it? Like it feels like if you wore this, you would look like the guy in the movie a lot more so than you would when you usually wear a Ruby's costume,
Yeah.
I think this looks great. I'm not gonna lie, I think it looks really, really good, and I'm almost kind of like, wow, I don't really have the hairline for Superman anymore. I'll probably be doing Lex Luthor from now on, but if I ever do Superman again, I might get this costume.
I do like the blatantly stuffed dog model in the cape, and they couldn't even get a white dog. I mean, come on.
I'm gonna be getting my white dog a cape. Definitely. I mean, just that wasn't even like a long conversation. It's like, are we getting? Yes, we're getting.
I've already got alerts set up. Yeah, I'll probably get a new one for my dog as well because she likes to sit there and chew the one she's got at the minute.
And just to go back to like, I think what's really setting it off is that they're kind of doing like a lighting effect around the logo. If you notice, like there's kind of like a glow around the outside of the logo, which is just really, really working and looks really, really cool.
I kind of wish Dan Jurgens' Superman was sort of a bit more this. It's a similar sort of pose, but I don't know. It just feels a little bit more lived in. Then there's the Mr. Terrific and the Engineer.
The costume everyone will be clamoring for this Halloween season. We want to be the Engineer.
I can imagine several gentlemen potentially buying it for their other half. Love, I bought you something nice.
And like, if I'm going to criticize any design of the film, like the Engineer, it's like it could be Faora from Man of Steel. It could be Black Widow, maybe. It could be one of like about a million other female characters from comic book movies. It's a very, very forgettable design. I am so surprised that Ruby's made this. Like, it's like who is going to want to wear that? It's like whoever wears that, it's got to be the most put upon girlfriend of all time. Where it's just like, okay, honey, I'll go along with whatever you're doing. You're going as Mr. Terrific, fine. I'll go as the Engineer. I can't imagine someone, and I stand to be corrected. I can't imagine someone coming out of that movie going, I can't wait to cosplay as the Engineer.
Yeah, that.
Do you think that Mr. Terrific comes with the grease paint?
Well, I think that's a mask. I don't think
it's actually a mask. That might actually be a mask. Yeah. I'd zoom in, but it'll be horribly pixelated. But
and by the way, the Mr. Terrific costume is like A+, perfect. No notes. But like that is an easy costume to get absolutely right. So.
Well, the Engineer, I imagine, is a fairly basic recycle skin type PVC kind of thing. You can wear it to the club afterwards, and no one will know. And then we have the Hawk Girl with a non-impressive wingspan. And I really like the Guy Gardner one. Be a nightmare to keep it clean, but I like the jacket. The jacket looks like good quality in the picture.
No ring though.
They'd probably sell that separately.
But would it have been so hard to include
Yeah,
a cardboard ring?
to to show off the Green Lantern costume. Maybe a ring on it would have been, appropriate.
Perhaps they didn't like it, so they wouldn't put a ring on it.
Like I have several Ruby's Batman costumes, and they all come with like a really impressive cowl and a utility belt. It's like I think we could afford, a one size fits all plastic ring, guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would have been an easy, inaffordable thing to include. I just wonder whether they're going to sell it separately, or whether it will be in the set. They just didn't have it for the model. Who knows? Licensing's weird.
Yes.
And then we got kids ones, which are pretty much the same. The puffy chest for the kid. No engineer for the kids. Weird. But that brings us to the end of the costumes, and then a few little odds and ends to sweep up. So, Concept One released a couple of caps. You've got the snapback hat.
Okay, can I ask a question? And this is a merchandising question. At what point are we going to get rid of the effing Rebirth costume on merchandise? It bothers me every single time I see it. I'm like, guys, that costume hasn't been a thing now for 7 years.
Actually, Michael, that's the Superman Reborn costume, not the Superman Rebirth costume.
I hate you. I just You are correct. I will
You are right to hate me.
I will concede that point. I wish you had glasses that you could push up on your nose as you're saying
I will do it on your behalf.
I will have to say this though. I've joked for years that the one job at DC Entertainment that I did not ever want to have would be the person that's responsible for Superman merchandising from 2011 to 2018, because that person has an ulcer the size of, the Grand Canyon, because it's like every 5 minutes they're changing the costume on him. Once he's got everything set up, they're like, "No, we're gonna do this." Oh, so you're getting a new costume? Yeah, we're just kind of going back to the old one, but it's got silver bracelets on it, and then you just hear a gunshot. And,
be like
and a body
3.
slumping on a dead. Yes, exactly.
Where Josh from the West
don't
Wing
get me
just
wrong,
goes out and shoots himself.
I don't dislike the costume, and I don't dislike the merchandising art that they have for the costume. I think it looks really nice. It's just in the year of our Lord 2025, why are we still using it?
Yeah,
Especially if it's for the movie, why aren't we using that David Corenswet piece of artwork?
Yeah, no,
I don't know whether
that.
Concept One slapped this together or whether DC slapped this together.
You'll know. You'll forgive me if I'm wrong here, Michael. Didn't John Byrne leave because they weren't using his artwork in the kind of promotional merchandise type side of things?
It's one of the complaints he brought up a lot, is that he never felt that he supported his version of Superman, and that when you saw Superman in merchandising, it was still the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise be his name, version of the character. And I don't know if Byrne's Superman would look good on merchandise.
No, when you've perfected it with the Jose Garcia Lopez, praise be his name, artwork, I mean, why would you dick around with that? It worked perfectly fine. It's what I was so used to seeing on Superman merchandise that I'm always a little disappointed when I don't see it.
But I think there's a lot of drawings in Man of Steel, that the original miniseries, that would look great on merchandise, to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got this one, and we've got the adult trucker hat, which I'm not a fan of trucker hats. They don't suit me. I can get away with a cap, but I mean that one's a bit busy for me.
I didn't realize trucker hat was an actual genre of hat.
See,
I was not aware of this, but I don't wear hats because I have an odd-shaped head. So
see, I can't wear a trucker hat that go in full Ted Levine in Joyride or Roadkill, depending on which title you got, and just be like Candy Cane.
And my wife just walked into the room and called me Egg Boy when I said I have a weird shaped head. So thank you, babe. I appreciate that.
Make it make sense. He's flying in the sky. Make it make sense. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, we don't really have trucker hats over here, kind of, but must be an American thing. Then there was the Hallmark ornament that they release every year and we probably won't get in this country.
These are getting more and more interesting, I have to say. Like these Christmas tree ornaments. Yes, we don't have these really elaborate ones that you guys have. Like I saw they did a Michael Keaton Batman one recently, and
for the Flash. Yeah,
I'm really keen to see where this technology takes us. I have to say, like
Christmas ornament technology.
I mean, if this get released here, I will buy this because my tree needs it. I have to have my own Christmas tree in this room because of all the nerdy shit I put on it. My wife was like, "Can't we just have a nice Christmas tree?" I was like, "Tell you what, I'll buy my own after Christmas when they go down cheap."
See, that's not a problem I have. Our Christmas trees, when we put it up, is half Superman and comic book stuff and half Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. So
it's the dream.
It's an interesting man. My nicest Superman ornament was a Warner Brothers store exclusive. It was the animated Superman flying up, and it looks amazing.
I got one where he's carrying a sack of presents. So yeah, there's that again. Very nice. Would look nice on my tree. Release it in the UK, you bastards.
Apparently, everyone was complaining that he looked fat, but that's just because people are
stupid.
Assassins
because his back is clearly doing that. Dipshits. I just wonder why my subscriber numbers just went down. Then Paladome have released pictures of merch. It mostly seemed to be lights, mugs, and I'm guessing a deck of playing cards in a tin, maybe. Or just a tin.
I don't know, man. They perfected Superman playing cards recently with that one set that came out last year. So I guess they kind of have to do this, but
the ones with the funky art on.
Mm-hmm.
The I can't remember the name of the company. I've got them on a shelf up there somewhere. They're gorgeous. I really wanted to buy a second deck and frame it.
I've been avoiding buying coffee mugs because we have so many, but I've decided that I am going to get a nice, proper, larger Superman one, but I'm definitely going to get one with the Daily Planet logo on it as well.
Yeah,
100%.
I quite like this light, the crystals light. Again, it's
that's what I was going to say. I think that looks gorgeous, and I'm probably going to get that. I think it's just a lovely little nightlight thing that you can just put on when you don't want to put on a big light, but you just want to have something kind of glowing away so you can read a book or something. That looks really, really nice.
Yeah. And I mean, for kids, the crypto one looks nice. But for kids, a squishy one that you turn on by squishing his head. And yeah, I mean, it's all fairly standard stuff. I've seen some of the Paladome stuff, the Spider-Man on the lamppost light that they've done. They look like they make good quality stuff. Then for younger fans, we've got the Imaginext Kaiju and Superman. My kids have got loads of that Imaginext stuff. Sadly now, mostly in the loft, but I won't let them get rid of it.
There's a part of me that looks at this kaiju monster and goes, "That's adorable," and there's another part of me that says the safety word is Godzilla.
It's this hollow legs that I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is that
why would you fill that with solid plastic? So,
well, the thing is that I'm much easier on these types of toys in terms of how they look and stuff because
I'm more like the idea that Superman keeps his books there.
Yeah.
I agree completely, Michael.
But yeah, they're things for kids to play with.
Yeah, they're toys to be played with.
And it's like not everything's going to be the Rancor monster toy that I had in like 1983 that looked like the creature on the screen. That was a durable toy. But this looks like, Imaginext has its own kind of look and feel. Like their Doomsday is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
And to that point, like they have done more with Superman toys than I think any toy. Like there is like comics accurate Brainiac. They've done, they've done so much, and they've done so many cool kind of play sets and stuff like that. I've never really landed on that planet, I'm afraid to say. I think I'm beyond that. But like, I know Alan has sent me pictures of some of the Imaginext stuff he's bought for his daughter, and it's so cool that it exists. And some of the really, really elaborate play sets and stuff they've done are so, so cool, And I think if I was just a little bit younger, I would love to be picking these up, And
they've done some great ones. My kids have got the DC ones. They've done Ninja Turtles ones, Power Rangers ones, which are good fun. I always enjoyed playing with that stuff with my kids.
Oh man, the Power Rangers one, the fucking Megazord they did.
The Megazord, yeah,
it's so cool. I've actually come close to buying that a couple of times. And I talk a lot about I wish they would do a Daily Planet playset. Guess who has done a Daily Planet playset? Imaginext.
Mm-hmm.
So they've done a lot of really cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for what it is, the age group is aimed at. It's great. I quite like the quirky look on Superman's face. Got that wry smile, but the eyes that are kind of like going to mess you up. Yeah, and then we have the Uno set. I didn't realize they did a Superman Returns one until I was looking for pictures of this. I feel like I missed out a little bit now. Again, if you like Uno, seems perfectly fine. Yeah, quite nice looking cards that are on the box. All we've got is the box to go on at the minute.
I can't imagine I'm the only one who will say this, but I have owned many sets of Uno over the years, and I still don't know the rules of that game.
I think it's whatever makes my kids win.
Yeah,
is the rules.
Sorry, Michael, I put across you there.
No, it's fine. I was just saying this is definitely one of those things that if I buy it, it goes on a shelf.
Yeah,
with all like the other games and stuff that I have.
Our own little personal Superman museums.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we have the Kid Robot plushes.
Oh God, that Superman face is horrifying.
Can I just say, as your episode that came out today as we record was Superman Doomsday, he's got the little lines on his face.
That looks like Superman who had to go to the hospital because he has an eating disorder. I mean,
or he's constipated. He's like, I'm really backed up. His face has gone in on it.
I hope I don't offend anyone here by saying that I'm getting Gerard Christopher vibes off that.
Oh yeah, no, I can. The hair, especially, you're not wrong. I can
the
see
cheekbones that. and the kind of lip and everything and the big eyes. He's definitely Gerard Christopher.
Countdown to Superman retracts its previous statements.
Please come on the show.
But yeah, again, it's what it is. It's not as horrific as the window clinger. Which I didn't know these were still a thing.
Yeah, I thought Garfield kind of came, brought this
killed
into
it in the 80s and 90s
and left it. So, but it's cute.
I
wouldn't get one.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Is it's so funny because like when Justice League the cartoon was a thing, they had like a flying Batman thing that you would like put a suction cup on the ceiling.
Yeah, I've got that.
Batman had a little fan on the back of him and he'd fly around. And I got that as a kid and was like, what? Why did they do this? Like Batman can't fly. What the hell is going on here? And this is the exact same thing. It's like Superman doesn't climb up walls like Spider-Man. He flies. Like, why are we doing this?
He looks like he wasn't paying attention when he was flying. He just slammed into a window he couldn't smash through.
Something wrong with the elevator?
Like that Simpsons episode where naked Homer gets dragged across the top of the glass ceiling of the church.
Hello, human fly here.
But the problem with those, I don't know whether you got it but the Garfield one I had, because we had condensation on the windows, just went moldy on my bedroom window. They're just impossible to keep clean. Then we had a sneak tease of the Hot Toys Superman, which I'm not going to lie is probably going to be out of my price range.
Mm-hmm.
I can't justify 300 odd quid on a figure, no matter how cool it looks.
This is something we run into on the live show for the Superman homepage, like almost every week, is that Steve will pull up something that, like some new piece of merchandise that's coming out, and it's like this statue, it's got a limited print run of 5, and it's going to cost you $5.5 billion to buy, and it's just like, who is this for?
Yeah. I mean, if they want to send me one to review on this podcast, I'll do it.
Yeah, but
I mean, I can't guarantee I'll be nice. I probably will if it's the good quality that Hot Toys generally are. I just can't afford to buy one.
yeah,
But I will happily review one for free.
It's not that
skillfully said there, Stuart. I love that.
He's dancing around the raindrops there. I like it.
I'm not going to sell my soul and say Black Adam is an amazing film just because Warner Brothers send me a box of McFarlane toys.
I don't know. At this point, I might. Because I kind of want those toys, but no, I haven't gone down the Hot Toys rabbit hole yet, and I don't think I ever will. But I appreciate them for their aesthetics.
I would have to have some serious disposable income, which means no kids, no dog, no mortgage.
I think so you're homeless.
Yeah. I meant my mortgage was paid off.
You put it perfectly earlier on, though, Michael. It's like, I think if I'm buying a toy, it has to be a toy that's designed to be played with, and they're not designed to be played with. They're designed to be displayed, and it just something in my brain just doesn't get any satisfaction out of that. It just feels more like a statue than a toy. So
I like a toy you can pose and take photos of.
But they should be called hot statues, not hot toys.
Yeah, that's fair. Slightly more affordable and a very similar sneak peek was the NECA one.
I haven't seen this one.
I think.
Yeah, but are you going to have to like use a hairdryer to get the joints to work?
Some NECA stuff's quite good recently. It's been quite movable. Sometimes, you do have to use the hairdryer. I think this one's going to be a 12-inch. It's going to be a bigger figure. So I imagine like the Christopher Reeve one they did, although was that 18-inch? I can't remember now anyway. Again, it's a sneak peek. I'm not sure about these bits on the arms where you can clearly twist. They look a bit... There's not a nice blend there, but again, once I see the whole figure, it might look a bit better.
I will say the NECA, I want to say it's 8-inch or 10-inch Michael Keaton Batman figure I have is probably my favorite Michael Keaton Batman figure they've ever made, and they made a pretty good Christopher Reeve one at that scale as well. It's not perfect. His arms look a little bit like Woody from Toy Story, but I really NECA are hit and miss, but when they hit, they really hit hard, and I'd be really interested to see what this turns out like, I have to say.
Yeah, again, it's going to depend on price point, but
yeah,
it's potentially very tempting once we see more. Then next we have Rob's personal favorite toy brand, Spin Master. They're really pushing this kaiju. Again, it's toys designed to be played with, and it's got a slime element. I actually really like the Superman figure.
Yep.
He's got that basic Spin Master kind of triangle cape just stuck on him, and there's our slime element. But again, toys to be played with.
Yeah, it's a nice figure. I like that one picture though. It looks like I think you need to go get this looked at.
Yeah.
A doctor may need to lance that or something.
I'm slightly concerned about the kaiju in the film now. It's got this horrible image of Superman just ripping his guts open or something.
I think the slime is going to be a comedic thing. In all honesty,
I'm hoping it's like
everything.
If anyone remembers, in the All-Star Superman comic, he's fighting Krull, and either Atlas or Samson kicks Krull into space, and Superman sees Krull in space. He's like, "Oh, Krull's lungs have just burst," but then he's like safely brings him back into Earth, and then he's fine again. So I'm hoping it's something like that, where it's like we see this horrific thing happen to him, but then he's fine, like a scene later.
Yeah.
I probably will buy this. I just hope that this isn't the only thing Spin Master release. And like thus far, this is the only thing we've seen, which is a little bit worrying to me. I just hope they're doing like Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl and all that other stuff. Like
I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I don't know how they're going to be affected by the Mattel license.
Exactly. I'm worried that might have something,
because obviously they announced or hinted at a Superman 78 line of figures as well, and I'd be gutted if we don't get that because the Mattel deal crushes it. I think we will get more. I think they're potentially the next ones we're going to get to with the McFarlane announcements, which were the big announcements for the toy wise. So I imagine they're going to drip feed theirs a little bit more. I really hope that's going to be the case. I hope we get a Supermobile like we would have in the 90s. Just
no conversion coupe or GTFO. I'm just saying.
It is just the same one repainted, the Man of Steel one that was then repainted for the animated series.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spin Master is what it is, and it leads nicely into the McFarlane DC Superpowers, which is a toy line I actually really like. After their initial ones where they put holes in the capes by fastening them to the plastic, they've stopped doing that now. I've actually bought all of the Supermans and I've kept them on the card. I've got a couple that I opened and because I double dipped on them. I quite like the look of this. This is the Superman figure I would have had as a kid if this film came out when I was a kid. I like the face sculpt on it. I mean, it's the classic Superman body just repainted again.
That is the opposite of a Brandon Routh Superman Returns Superman, where he's like, Brandon Routh was like 90% torso. This guy is like 10% torso.
Yeah. But it fits in with that Superpowers line as well. We got the S on the cape. I think he's a good looking little figure. Again, it's figures that work both for the nostalgia collector and for kids to play with. Yeah. It's a shame these aren't more widely available in more toy shops like the Spin Master stuff is.
I don't think these are designed to be played with, though. I think these are designed purely for nostalgia for people in their 30s and 40s, to be honest.
All right, I wouldn't object to my kid having this. Yeah. I'd question buying them a McFarlane one if, they are of playing with toys age, not displaying toys like my eldest is now.
I admire the mold. I think they're definitely going for that Superpowers kind of like early Batman the Animated Series type shape. I feel like if Kenner had made this figure, had made figures from this film, in the early 90s, it probably would have a little bit more detail, is the only thing I'd say. But
yeah, but again, I admire what they're tied into that Superpowers look. I like the packaging. The picture of Superman, I think, is a little bit small on the packaging, but not that I'm a graphic designer, but having been best friends with a graphic designer for years, I don't like the placement of him. Bring him over a little bit more, center him, or just make him a bit bigger if you're going to have him half hanging off. It's not the worst packaging. We have the Guy Gardner figure with a really weird Nathan Fillion-esque likeness on the box. I kind of wish he came with some of the green swirly stuff that you could attach to the hand.
Yeah.
Again, it's a perfectly fine figure. I like the costume. I like that it's not just a repaint of another Guy Gardner figure.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
the hair.
It's what it is. Then we have the Mr. Terrific again. They got the T-balls floating around him. We don't get any with it, which is a little bit disappointing. But then that's this line, and they are affordable figures, so I can't really complain when they've got like a £10 price point.
Well, Spin Master would have given you those.
Spin Master would have. But like you say, I mean, they're the things you'd instantly lose as soon as you rip open the box if you're a kid, so I kind of get it. Again, nice looking figure. He's got the detail on the jacket.
It is nice.
And then we have the Metamorpho, which the picture of this one is weird. They should have gone more the Guy Gardner route, I think.
It's kind of horrifying.
I know, he looks a little bit like he's walked out of a 28 Days Later kind of movie.
and like the picture is like really, really skinny, and then the figure is just like really, really chunky.
Yeah, it's that Superpowers body. I like his big broad shorts.
These are comfy. They air out nicely. Do not make fun of my shorts.
I like they've got the detail on the face. Again, it's not just a straight repaint of the other Metamorpho figure they did. Yeah, again, it's what it is. It's perfectly fine. Then we have the Fortress of Solitude. There are 2 figures still to come out, I believe, that they haven't revealed yet. They seem to do that. I think you have to buy a whole case to get them, or lucky dip in your comic shop, toy shop, there's a Fortress robot, which you'll see on the packaging for this, and there's an Ultraman, which, if I remember rightly from the Just BSing video, he's seen the Ultraman figure, and it's pretty much what you've seen in the trailer. But yeah, so we knew we were getting a Fortress of Solitude. Again, I mean, that's the robot there. It's kind of in keeping with what we would have got in the 80s and 90s. It's plastic and cardboard.
Not in the 90s.
Not in the...
I don't know if we would have gotten that in the 80s. It would have been more of a solid structure in the 80s. This looks like it's like piecemeal.
Yeah.
I really, really don't like this. I think this just looks like a complete gimmick for people who are nostalgic. There's no... if Kenner had made this in the 90s, there would be so much more to it than this. This is just... This is something you could make at home yourself with, paper mache. I don't like this at all. Sorry.
Go back to that previous. This picture right here. Not that one. The other one of Superman sitting in the chair.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That is Superman giving his quarterly review to his robot right there. That's this image. What I said when I first saw it is it looks like they took the necklace from that woman from Batman Forever when she steps into the Enigma tech machine and she has like all the jewels on herself. That's what this looks like. It really does.
Yeah. I mean, that's the individual pieces.
This reminds me of on those fan websites when you'd see, in the 90s when people would be speculating about Superman Returns, like, oh yeah, here's what the toys might look like. And, that they'd kit bash figures from the animated series and they take stuff from like Star Trek play sets that they own or whatever. And they just like mash it all together. It's like, oh, here's what the toys might look like. And it was just all piecemeal and kind of nothing. That's what this looks like. This does not look like something you would have bought by Kenner in the 90s. You go on Neil Ricketson's YouTube channel right now, look up Kenner Batman Forever Batcave playset and look at that, and then compare to this. This is nonsense.
I think I'm in 70s and 80s rather than 80s and 90s.
This will probably cost $30 or $40, and it looks.
I think it's around 30. I think if you buy it from the McFarlane site with the figures, you get it at a decent price as part of a bundle. I have pre-ordered this. It's the one I'm on the fence about whether I'm going to cancel or not. I probably won't. It's disappointing. It could have been so much more. It could have had some moving parts or something. I guess to keep the cost down, but there's more interesting things I think they could have done with it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. There's been no sign yet of Mr. Terrific's T-Craft, which was on the Toy Leak list. Whether we actually get that or not, I don't know. But yeah, that brings us then to the DC Multiverse figures. I'm going to start with the one you are most likely to see in your reduced bin, which is the Kaiju. Because even I'm not paying 40 to 50 quid for this big lump of plastic with a weird face, quite frankly.
I appreciate the desire to do it, but much like the Doomsday from BVS figure that McFarlane did, it's just a lump of plastic.
Yeah. With a real "Hey, you guys" kind of face.
I'm not going to buy this, but I think it looks very nice. And
again, if it was like reduced to 10 to 15 quid, I'd be tempted just to complete the set. But I'm not going to buy it at full price, and I can't imagine many people are. It's just again, it's like the old Rancor figure. It's just the arms seem to be the only thing that's going to move in the waist.
They might be famous last words, Stuart. I'm just going to say, like we don't know how cool this Kaiju might be in the movie. Like he might be an iconic part of that film,
I do like that one shot though that looks like he's working on his monologue for the theater workshop that he's trying out for.
To be or not to be. But yeah, then we have Metamorpho.
Looks good.
Looks good, yeah.
Again, nice packaging. That horrible picture on the back, unfortunately. I kind of hate this with the McFarlane ones. It's like use a still from the film if it's a film figure or a still from the comic. The worst one was when they the little collector's card you got with it was just a picture of the action figure in a pose. It's like, Jesus. Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah,
I
he
like it.
does actually.
The proportions seem right. It's got some nice detail on. The broad shorts aren't as big and wide as they are on the superpowers thing. The figure, I know, again, very different kind of figure. Yeah, again, only comes with interchangeable hands, which at
I hate that. I got to be honest with you.
£25 figure, give me an alternate head or something else as well. Just
I I am not a big fan of those, and I don't know why it is. Maybe I'm the merciless assassin of fun here, but I don't ever interchange the hands. I just leave the figure as it is in the package, and I put that on the shelf.
I do
I agree.
sometimes. It depends the pose I'm trying to get. It's like the Christopher Reeve flying one. I wanted the flying hand, not the
Not the fist. Yeah, I get that.
yeah. Then we have the standard Superman, which
Looks good. I like this one.
he's nice. He hasn't got the cloth cape, and again, he only comes with interchangeable hands. It annoys me. Can we get 2 closed fists and 2 open hands? Do we have to have the one fist? It's just if you're going to do Superman flying with a fist, you want 2 fists. If you're going to do it with the open hand, you want a fist and an open hand.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, I think also part of my positive reaction to this figure is that, and Rob and I have gone back and forth on this on social media, is that the face sculpts of the early Superman figures were atrocious.
Yeah.
And now we're actually getting really decent face sculpts.
Yeah.
Oh, that mulleted
And-
Superman they did, the face was horrible. I was so excited for that figure, and then when I actually
Well,
saw it,
don't get me started on that figure. I have so many problems with it. Plastic cape. The plastic cape looks really good. That's the thing
yeah.
for me.
But yeah, that's everything you get in the box. Again, he's got 2 flat flying hands, but unless you're doing this flying,
I haven't always been nice about McFarlane, but I think all of these look pretty good. I have to say, I think this one in particular looks nice.
They've definitely been raising.
I may even get this one.
And then you have the statue figure, which is the figure that doesn't move. I think they did the Michael Keaton one for the Flash, like this.
Look at my crotch.
Yeah.
He has a big one, or he has nothing.
Did you guys ever see the DC Direct Kingdom Comes Shazam figure, the Captain Marvel figure?
No.
Okay, so it's a really nice looking figure, but if you take it out of the packaging and you stand it up, you had to like have him where his crotch is basically sticking out for it to stand comfortably, and that's kind of what this reminds me of.
Perfect.
They gave him an actual package, though. That's the thing about this that I find a little disturbing.
Perhaps that was the only note in David Cronsworth's thing. He's like, I don't care about likeness, but make sure you get the package right.
Look at my uncomfortable crotch.
See, I'm just thinking about, have you ever seen Return to the Batcave? The whole Burt Ward looks too big in his shorts.
Yeah.
Giving him injections. This one comes with a cloth cape. You can't pose the figure, but you can pose the cape.
I'm loving that they're doing cloth capes on these things,
Yeah.
so I really am. I think that's
Like I say,
such a neat idea.
That's the only downside with that other Superman figure. The one I just showed you is that it's the plastic cape rather than the cloth cape, but it does look nice on that figure. And then we have the deluxe one that comes with Crypto. I'm wondering if these alternate faces, because they don't do changeable heads now, they do faces. The Guy Gardner I got, his faces, you have to like take the hair off, put the face on. But you have one with red eyes, and then the other 2 look pretty much exactly the same as the one that's already on the figure. So I'm wondering whether they're going to be different when it actually gets released. Nice box. I'm not a mint in box wanker though, generally. So I like the artwork on the back though. And then that's the figure again. 1 open hand, 1 fist. Crypto is solid plastic with a fabric cape. We've got the fabric cape on Superman. It looks nice. Some people have complained that the head's too small for the body. I think in some pictures it looks like that. In some pictures it doesn't. the red eyes don't really work for me. I'm
The
hoping
bleeding eyes.
I'm
Superman.
hoping this is the prototype thing. Yeah, because it kind of looks like he's been maced.
Event Horizon Superman. That's what we
Do
need.
you see? Do you see? There's Crypto. Looks perfectly sweet for a non-movable thing.
Oh wow, that looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks really good.
That looks good.
It's amazing what you can do with a wired cloth cape. But yeah, that's everything you get in the box. Again, 2 flat flying hands, 3 changeable faces, 2 of which look exactly the same. And none of them really look like David Corenswet, apart from the one actually on the figure. So I'm really hoping that is going to change. And then we have the sneak peek of the Lex Luthor. Good likeness of Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
I think this one's the one that's meant to come with the baby kaiju. I like he's in the purple suit. The Mr. Terrific, which again I think looks really nice. Obviously, we've only seen the back. And the Fortress Robot, which there was speculation is
Mr.
this...
Lister, sir.
Are they going to do numbers 1 through 12 or whatever it is? If they've got any sense, you'll just be able to, you'll get alternate plates you can put on it. So you just buy multiples of them.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, they should give you like a bunch of different numbers that you can just.
That's it. You just army build. But yeah, I think my thing with this Superman is for the price point, I'd like more in the box than 2 hands and 3 faces and a non-movable Crypto. A few more hand options would be quite nice. Or a proper expressions pack. But I don't know, with everything that's going on in the world, perhaps it's just not affordable to do that sort of stuff anymore. But yeah, I like the look of the robot. I'm quite impressed with these figures. Like I say, recently McFarlane, there's been a couple of misses, but they seem to be nailing it. Ironically, as they're losing the license, they seem to be up in their game. But yeah, that's it for the toys. I mean, I've pre-ordered a lot of this crap, I must admit. I say crap in a fun way, not in a I think it's crap. Yeah, some of it is better than I expected. Some of it's about what I expected, and some of it is a bit disappointing. I imagine there'll be more to see. I don't know if there's anything in particular we haven't seen that you guys are keen to see, merchandise-wise.
Wendell Pierce.
I'd like a. I'm sorry.
Wendell Pierce Perry White figure.
I'd like to see more T-shirts. I want to see what they have like in general ordering T-shirts, not the stuff that you get directly from the DC shop.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a few that popped up on Zavvi in this country, but again, I think they're what you can buy from the DC shop in America. I think they've done some on the Warner Brothers store over here and some through Zavvi and that sort of thing. I guess to get it out to more people. But yeah, I mean, we are eating well as Superman fans at the moment. But yeah, I mean, that sort of brings us to the end of the YouTube bit. So for those of you who watched it on YouTube, thank you very much.